They ran a $10 billion fund, then vanished into the tropics. In the high-stakes world of cryptocurrency, fortunes are made and lost in the blink of an eye. But the story of Three Arrows Capital, or 3AC, isn't just about a market crash. It's a modern-day manhunt, a tale of ambition, hubris, to crypto aristocrats who became international fugitives, leaving a trail of financial devastation in their wake. This is the story of Zhu and Kyle Davies, the masterminds behind one of the most spectacular implosions in financial history, in the desperate, globe-spanning search for their phantom wallets. The legend of Three Arrows Capital was forged in the crucible of crypto's explosive growth. It's founded in 2012 by two former Credit Suisse traders, Zhu and Kyle Davies. 3AC was more than just a hedge fund. It was an institution. From their headquarters in Singapore, they cultivated an image of unparalleled genius. Zhu, in particular, became a messianic figure on Twitter, his pronouncements on market direction treated as gospel by hundreds of thousands of followers. He popularized the supercycle thesis, the idea that crypto had reached a stage of maturity where it would only go up, immune to the brutal bear markets of the past. They weren't just participating in the market. They were shaping its narrative. Their strategy was deceptively simple, aggressive, highly leveraged bets on the future of decentralized finance. They poured billions into promising projects, from blockchain platforms like Solana and Avalanche to a massive, multi-billion-dollar position in the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. At its zenith, 3AC was rumored to manage over $10 billion in assets. They were the smartest guys in the room, the kings of crypto, living a life of unimaginable luxury. Zhu purchased a $35 million good-class bungalow in Singapore, a status symbol reserved for the ultra-elite, and was rumored to be commissioning a super yacht. They weren't just rich, they were crypto royalty. But the foundation of their empire was built on a house of cards. In May of 2022, the crypto ecosystem was rocked by a seismic event, the collapse of the Terra Luna algorithmic stablecoin. It was a digital bank run on an unprecedented scale, wiping out over $40 billion in value in a matter of days. And 3AC was at ground zero. Fund had a massive, and as it turned out, highly leveraged bet on Luna. The collapse triggered a domino effect. As the value of their holdings plummeted, margin calls from their lenders began to flood in. One by one, crypto lenders like BlockFi, Voyager, and Genesis revealed that 3AC had defaulted on loans worth hundreds of millions, and in some cases, billions of dollars. The supercycle was over. The kings were dethroned. In June 2022, a court in the British Virgin Islands, where 3AC was incorporated, ordered the fund into liquidation. The total debt was staggering, over $3.5 billion owed to a laundry list of creditors. But as the liquidators, appointed from the consulting firm Teneo, tried to sift through the wreckage, they encountered a shocking problem. The founders, Zhu and Kyle Davies, had disappeared. The Singapore office was abandoned, its doors locked and mail piling up. Their once prolific social media accounts fell silent. It was as if they had been erased from the face of the earth, taking the keys to billions in remaining assets with them. The hunt was on. It became a frantic, high-tech chase that spanned continents and involved a motley crew of pursuers. At the forefront were the court-appointed liquidators, whose job was to recover as much money as possible for the creditors. They scoured legal filings and public records, trying to piece together the founders' movements and the location of the fund's assets, which were scattered across a labyrinth of anonymous crypto wallets. Their efforts were akin to searching for a needle in a global haystack, complicated by the very nature of decentralized finance that 3AC had once championed. Joining the chase were the creditors themselves, a global coalition of jilted investors and crypto firms, each hungry for a piece of the remaining pie. They hired their own teams of blockchain investigators and on-the-ground detectives. Every rumor, every social media whisper was scrutinized. Was Zhu in Dubai, a city known for its crypto-friendly policies and lack of extradition treaties with many Western nations? Reports trickled in of sightings, but they remained unconfirmed. The founders seemed to be ghosts, always one step ahead. Then came the blockchain sleuths, a new breed of digital detective native to the crypto world. These independent analysts, operating under pseudonyms on Twitter and Discord, began meticulously tracing transactions on the public ledger. They were the bloodhounds of the digital age, following the money. They watched as millions of dollars worth of crypto and NFTs were moved from wallets known to be associated with 3AC to new unknown addresses. Each transaction was a breadcrumb, a potential clue to the founder's location or their attempts to cash out. Were they trying to fund their life on the run? Or were they just moving assets to stay ahead of the liquidators? The trail eventually led to the idyllic shores of Bali, Indonesia. Both Zhu and Davies were rumored to be hiding out on the island, a popular haven for digital nomads and expatriates. The relaxed atmosphere and complex legal landscape offered a perfect refuge. But even in paradise, they couldn't remain entirely invisible. Their silence was eventually broken not by a confession, but by a bizarre reemergence on social media and in carefully selected interviews. They blamed their lenders for being too greedy, the market for its irrationality, and even the liquidators for overstepping. They portrayed themselves not as architects of a disaster, but as victims of a crypto contagion. Finally, the net began to tighten. In September 2023, after more than a year on the run, Zhu was apprehended at Changi Airport in Singapore. He was attempting to leave the country. A flagrant violation of a court order compelling his cooperation with the liquidation inquiry, he was sentenced to 4 months in prison. Kyle Davies, meanwhile, remains at large, his location a mystery. He taunts creditors and authorities from afar, giving interviews from undisclosed locations and showing little remorse. He was even spotted in Bali by tourists, seemingly living a carefree life while billions in debt remained unpaid. The hunt for him, and for the money, continues. Looking back, the fall of Three Arrows Capital was more than just a story of a bad trade. It was a morality tale for the crypto age, a story of unchecked ambition and the seductive power of leverage. Zhu and Kyle Davies weren't just traders. They were crypto aristocrats who believed their own hype. They operated with a level of arrogance that assumed the music would never stop, that the supercycle was an immutable law of finance. They borrowed billions with seemingly little collateral, leveraging their reputation as much as their assets. When the market turned, their network of credit and trust collapsed with breathtaking speed. Their downfall exposed a fundamental hypocrisy at the heart of their philosophy. They championed decentralization and a trustless financial system. Yet their own operations relied on old-fashioned reputation and backroom deals. They built a $10 billion empire on handshakes and perceived genius, only to see it evaporate when tested by market forces. The phantom wallets they control today are the final. Bitter irony, the ultimate symbols of a decentralized world being used to escape centralized justice. The story of 3AC serves as a chilling reminder that in the world of finance, old or new, gravity always wins. And for those who fly too close to the sun, the fall is not just financial, it's a plunge into infamy, forever hunted by the ghosts of their own creation.